Thompson at three. Klay for the win. Good! For NBA history, he got it! 14 threes in a game!
The rise and fall of Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's journey is one of quiet dominance. From a laid-back college shooter to one of the most feared scorers in NBA history.
For NBA history, he got it! 14 threes in a game!
His rise was steady and undeniable. But after two major injuries and a shift in role, the question now is whether the Klay we once knew is gone for good or just waiting to reappear. His legacy is complicated and his future is uncertain. So can Klay Thompson still bounce back? And why did his game change so drastically in just a few seasons? Let's find out. Klay's origins and descent. Klay Thompson was born into a household where sports wasn't just a hobby, it was the norm. His father, Klay Thompson, was the first overall pick in the 1978 NBA draft and won 2 championships with the Showtime Lakers. His mother, Julie, was a standout in both volleyball and track and field. From a young age, he was surrounded by athletic excellence, but there was no pressure to be flashy. That quiet approach to greatness stuck with him. Growing up in Southern California, he showed early signs of elite shooting, but he didn't dominate with physicality or flash. He was smooth, efficient, and focused. When it came time for college, he surprised a lot of people by choosing Washington State over higher-profile programs like Michigan and Notre Dame. The story of his visit to WSU has become a bit of a legend. After practice, still in socks and sandals, Klay picked up a ball and started shooting. He hit 26 straight threes and made 48 of 50 total. No warm-up, no hype, just pure skill. At Washington State, he started all 33 games as a freshman and led the Pac-10 in three-point shooting percentage at 41.2%. By his sophomore and junior seasons, he was averaging over 21 points per game and was named first team All-Pac-10 twice. He left college ranked third on WSU's all-time scoring list with 1,756 points in just 3 years. While scouts knew he was one of the best shooters in the draft, there were questions about his athleticism and whether his game would translate. In the 2011 NBA draft, Golden State picked him 11th overall.
With the 11th pick in the 2011 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Klay Thompson from Washington State University.
At the time, the Warriors were far from contenders. Klay wasn't thrilled. He'd grown up a Laker fan, and Golden State hadn't made the playoffs in years. But what started as an uninspiring destination quickly became the perfect fit. His shooting gave him an immediate role, and his quiet, focused demeanor helped him earn the trust of coach Mark Jackson early. Over his first 2 seasons, Thompson averaged 15.3 points per game and shot 39.3% from 3. He developed into a foundational piece, and his partnership with Steph Curry started to take shape. They didn't even speak much during that first year, but together they changed how the league viewed backcourts. While Steph drew attention with his handles and deep threes, Klay balanced the floor with his quick release and perimeter defense. What made him stand out was his ability to defend the best guard on the other team and still drop 20-plus points without needing the ball in his hands for long. By 2014, he was averaging 18.4 points per game and hitting over 200 threes in a season. More importantly, he had already earned a reputation as one of the most disciplined defenders among shooting guards. He wasn't a vocal leader, but he didn't need to be. His game spoke loudly enough. By the time most players were finding their footing, Klay was already evolving into a different kind of problem. He had the tools, the system, and a partner in Curry. What came next wasn't just a breakout, it was one of the most explosive stretches of basketball the league has ever seen. Klay's prime period, 2014 through 2019. When Steve Kerr took over the Warriors in 2014, he brought a new offensive approach that unlocked a different version of Klay Thompson. The system focused on pace, spacing, and constant movement. It suited Klay perfectly. He didn't need the ball in his hands to be dangerous. He thrived off movement, cutting through screens and catching defenders a half-second too late. Kerr's system let Klay be exactly who he was: efficient, fast, and relentless. His most iconic moments during this stretch have been etched into NBA history. On January 23, 2015, he scored 37 points in a single quarter against the Kings, going 13 for 13 from the field and 9 for 9 from three. No one had ever done anything like that in a single 12-minute stretch. The game was already out of hand, but he kept firing and couldn't miss. It was the kind of performance that made people question if the scoreboard was glitching. Less than 2 years later, on December 5, 2016, he dropped 60 points in just 29 minutes against the Pacers. He only dribbled the ball 11 times the entire game and held it for less than 90 seconds total. That stat captured exactly how surgical he was. He wasn't creating with crossovers or isolations. He was gliding off screens, setting his feet in a blink, and releasing shots with perfect form every time. From 2015 to 2019, he made 5 consecutive All-Star teams. He was named to the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, a recognition long overdue. During this same run, the Warriors won 3 championships in 5 seasons and became one of the most dominant dynasties in league history. He was never the flashiest player, but his value was undeniable. His off-ball movement, lightning-quick release, and ability to defend elite guards every night gave the Warriors an edge few teams could match. At his peak, Klay seemed untouchable, but even the most consistent players face moments they can't plan for. Injuries don't have a warning, they just happen, and in his case, they came one after another. The fall begins. Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals was shaping up to be another signature moment for Klay Thompson. He already had 30 points with plenty of time left in the third quarter. Then, on a fast break, he was fouled mid-air by Danny Green. As he was helped toward the tunnel, something shifted in the crowd. Fans were chanting his name. And then, unexpectedly, he turned around and jogged back onto the court. He knocked down 2 free throws on a torn ACL before finally heading to the locker room for good. That was the last game he'd play for a long time. After the surgery, he spent the rest of 2019 and most of 2020 in rehab. The Warriors missed the playoffs, and their fans waited patiently for his return. But just weeks before the 2020-21 season started, during a workout in Southern California, he went down again. This time, it was his right leg, a torn Achilles. 2 major injuries to opposite legs just 16 months apart. He didn't play an NBA game for 941 days. For any player, coming back from one of those injuries is hard enough. Coming back from both, especially after turning 30, raised serious questions about whether he'd ever be the same. Throughout those years, he stayed mostly quiet publicly, occasionally sharing snippets of workouts or rehab progress. But behind the scenes, the grind was nonstop. The mental side of recovery is often harder than the physical, and he had to deal with it twice. Fans followed every update, holding on to the idea that whenever he did return, it would be worth the wait. What stood out most was how much respect he earned beyond just Golden State. Players, analysts, and even rival fans voiced their admiration. It wasn't sympathy. It was genuine respect for someone who built his career through discipline and now had to apply that same mindset to something far more uncertain. After nearly 3 years off the court, he finally stepped back into an NBA game. But returning is one thing. Staying there, playing at a high level again, that's a different challenge altogether. The return, a Warrior reborn. On January 9, 2022, 941 days after his last game, Klay stepped back onto an NBA court. The crowd at Chase Center didn't sit down for a second. Every move he made, his entrance, his first shot, and first bucket was met with an eruption. He finished the night with 17 points in 20 minutes against the Cavaliers. After back-to-back devastating injuries, just being out there again felt like a win. As the season continued, Thompson showed that his jumper hadn't gone anywhere. He averaged 20.4 points per game over 32 regular season appearances. His shot selection was more aggressive at times, possibly a mix of rust and the urgency to prove he could still be a key scorer. The rhythm wasn't always smooth, but the flashes were undeniable. His release was still among the quickest in the league, and defenders still had to chase him across every screen. Defensively, the shift was more obvious. His lateral movement had slowed, and he wasn't asked to take on the toughest perimeter assignments like he used to. Instead, Andrew Wiggins took over that role during most matchups, but Klay stayed competitive. He battled through every possession, even if his timing was occasionally off. In the 2022 playoffs, he averaged 19 points per game across 22 playoff appearances and had multiple performances that reminded people of what he was capable of. In Game 5 of the Finals against Boston, with the series tied 2-2, he knocked down 5 threes, another signature Game 6 Klay performance, but this time a game early. When the Warriors won the title, it was Klay's 4th ring. This one felt different. He wasn't the same player from years past, but his role still mattered. There was a noticeable emotional weight to the victory. During post-game interviews, he often brought up the rehab, the mental battles, and how much it meant just to be contributing again. His return became a story of perseverance more than dominance. People weren't just watching him play, they were watching someone rebuild himself in real time. But basketball doesn't wait. After the confetti settles and the cameras fade, the next season always arrives. And with it came new expectations, younger teammates, and a game that wasn't slowing down. The struggle to stay relevant, 2023 through 2025. By the 2023-2024 season, Klay Thompson's role on the Warriors had clearly shifted. His shot was still a threat, but his performance was unpredictable. Some nights he looked like a scoring option again. Other nights his shooting was off and his minutes were cut. He averaged 17.9 points on 43.2% shooting, numbers that would be solid for most players but felt underwhelming for someone with Klay's history. The game was moving faster, younger talent was emerging, and Klay's presence was no longer automatic. After the Warriors were eliminated early in the 2024 playoffs, he entered free agency for the first time in his career. The team he'd helped turn into a dynasty didn't offer the long-term deal he wanted, and so, for the first time in over a decade, he left Golden State. He signed with the Dallas Mavericks, looking for a new chapter and, more importantly, one last shot at a championship. At first, the move made sense. Luka Doncic was the face of the franchise, Kyrie Irving was still under contract, and Anthony Davis had recently joined in a bold front-court upgrade. The roster looked stacked, but everything unraveled quickly. Just months into the season, Davis suffered a major knee injury. Irving followed shortly after with a shoulder issue that sidelined him indefinitely. Then came the shock. Luka requested a trade and was eventually dealt to the Lakers, forming a new super team alongside LeBron James and a restructured core in LA. What was supposed to be his comeback season turned into a disaster. Left on a depleted Mavericks team with no clear leader and no playoff direction, he struggled. He averaged just 14.2 points per game on 41.2% shooting, his lowest output since his rookie year. His defense, once a strength, had become a liability. He was often benched late in games in favor of a younger guard who could keep up with today's pace. He didn't complain publicly, but his frustration showed. From being part of a historic dynasty to being a veteran on a broken roster, the drop-off wasn't gradual, it was abrupt. And now the bigger question looms. With championship hopes all but gone and his role continuing to shrink, is this truly the end of Klay Thompson's impact era? Whether he returns to form or adapts to a new role, his legacy is already secure. So what's your take on Klay Thompson's journey? Do you think he still has another chapter left, or has his story already been written? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, give the video a like and hit that subscribe button for more stories like this one.